Hey guys, welcome to my module. In this module, I'm going to be teaching you the book formatting system of Amazon Kindle, how you should be able to execute a proper book formatting after you've written your book. Because chances are that after you've written your book, you might post it on Amazon and Amazon is going to reject your book. This has happened to me particularly, and that's simply because Amazon has some regulation and certain criteria that you need to meet, that your book needs to meet before it would actually pass the Amazon standard and be published on their platform, because there are going to be people reading these books, and Amazon is trying to protect their standard and uphold it to the highest possible standard. All right. So in this tutorial, there are a few things you'll be learning in this module. A few things you'll be learning. One is font size and type, what font size you should use and what type you should use. The font spacing, you're going to be learning what font spacing is the best for you to use. You're going to also be learning how to add and use page break. You're going to be learning how to add your title, design the interior of your book, add copyright page, your chapter headings, add number, and of course add table of content and add links. Now it is very important that you follow this content up until the end, because this module to the end, that is the only way you can get best value for your time. However, if you're actually looking for a particular thing out of all that I've enumerated here, you can just go straight to that page and then learn whatever it is that you want to learn. All right, guys. Now, before we would go further, if you're just joining, if this is your first time on this channel, well, this is one module out of a number of other modules where I carefully taught people how they could actually make money from Amazon Kindle, contrary to what is actually going out there, where people just open an Amazon Kindle account and keep uploading books and making zero sales. All right. So if you want to be a part of that class, you can just leave a comment in the comment section saying, Phil, I want to be a part of your class, and I'm going to send you that invite. However, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can just reward me by subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and sharing with your audience. All right. Now, there are a few things I need you to know before we go further to do that. This is because after you have been able to completely or successfully format your book, it is still not going to stand the test of time if you do not know these things. And what are these things? First of all, avoid copyrighted contents. Now, if you followed my tutorials properly, or my modules, the subsequent modules, you would realize that we've covered the subject of copywriting and how you can actually avoid copywriting regardless of where you got your content from, either from the internet, PLR books, whatever content, however you are actually able to come up with your book. It is very important that you avoid copyrighted content. Another thing you must avoid is AI generated books or content, because a lot of people want the shortcut, so they just go on to generate books using AI, and oftentimes Amazon is going to reject this book. So I do not want you to spend all of your time learning how to format a book or formatting your book only to publish the book and it is still not accepted, and then you wonder, what did I do wrong? All right, that's why I'm sharing these things that you need to know. The third thing is, do not copy someone else's book. It is very important that you understand that you cannot copy someone else's book out there and republish. This is not Instagram where you can share someone else's content and you're fine, TikTok or whatever. This is Amazon. There are good regulations in play here. Another thing is using someone else's title or cover. This is one thing that has actually earned me a ban on Amazon Kindle on one of my accounts, using someone else's title or designing your book cover to look like someone else's, such that you get people to buy a book, because Amazon consider that as misleading. Because if I want to buy a book by Napoleon Hill and you design your book to look like that of Napoleon Hill, and then your book cover also look like his, and it's carrying his title, chances are that I would purchase your book and end up not actually getting value for my money. So Amazon is trying to avoid this. So you must make sure that you do not do this, because if you do that and still successfully do a proper book cover design or book formatting, it's still not going to accept your book. Another thing is multiple accounts on the same PC. Also, with my years of experience, this is one thing that has earned me a ban on Amazon. opening multiple Amazon Kindle accounts on the same laptop. Now, there is no harm in doing this as long as you can open these multiple accounts using people's IDs, maybe your family members and all that stuff. There's no harm in doing that. However, my simple advice is that do not open same account on the same. Do not open multiple accounts on the same laptop. If you must do that, make sure that you're doing that on different laptops. Another thing is that you must avoid fraudulent activities, right? It's very important that you avoid fraudulent activities because that's why currently it's difficult for people from certain countries to actually sign up on Amazon, because it has been proven that people from that region are actually very, very, very prone to perverting what the essence of any platform is, right? Without further ado, let's hop right in, right? So quickly, we're going to come here, and this is a book I have written already on Amazon Kindle, and I am willing to publish this book on Amazon Kindle. Now, the first thing we want to be learning is actually how to do your content, which is, of course, your font size and your font types. Now I'm just going to Control A this, right? Normally I usually use Georgia for my font, so you're just going to come here and choose Georgia. Now you can choose to do, it's not like a rule that you have to choose Georgia or whatever, but I just like using Georgia because it is more presentable and it looks very good. So I'm just going to use Georgia here. Now on the font size, I usually use 12 as my font size. 12 my font size, and you can see it looking all good to go and all fine. And this is my book, all written, all properly written. I can expand this, it's just tiny, that's why the book is looking cloak, and also it's a recipe book. Right now, the next thing you want to do is your spacing. Now you're also going to Control A here and actually come to your spacing. Now this is your spacing bar. You can see here line, paragraph spacing. You're going to click on it. Now you can choose either 1.0, 1.15, 1.5, 2.0. The different type of spacing I choose is going to determine the different sizes of my book, right? So here I would use 1.15 as my spacing because it's the best spacing. Now also you want to come here and do add spacing before paragraph or remove spacing after paragraph. So you see add spacing before paragraph, it gives your work some form of flair and beauty. And if you say remove spacing before paragraph, your work tends to be clogged together, and that's not good for your content. So what you want to do is you add spacing before each paragraph, so that after every paragraph there is going to be a spacing. Now another thing I like to bring to your notice is that make sure that your paragraphs are not clogged together. Make sure that every paragraph does not contain more than 4 lines or 3 lines at most. All right. So for instance, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm just going to click on this and share it. So you can see this is looking all good, right? This is 3 lines for a paragraph. This is 3 lines for a paragraph. And I'm going to come here and do the same thing and look for a space, and then I'm going to do this. So you can see this is clogged together. I cannot do 2 lines for a paragraph. I would have cut it from this point, but that's not looking good. So I'm just going to leave it like this. So make sure that you're not separating paragraphs that connect a particular idea. It's very, very important that you do not do that. Now the next thing we want to learn is actually how to add page breaks. Now if you're editing your book, right, you can see this book currently, we can do this, and bring it to the top and all that. But one thing you would notice is that this chapter is actually not coming up. But for many people, if you do this, instead of doing this, and you're trying to move this to the next page, instead of doing this and moving it to the next page, what happens is that if you now want to move this from this part upward to another page, what happens is that this is going to follow through. All of this is going to follow through. And also, it is also important for you to understand, for instance, okay, you see this? So this you can see already, just because there is a space here, you see some of this is already following through, and that's not something we want to achieve. All right, so if we're trying to create an extra page, instead of actually clicking enter and moving that to the next page, you're just going to come here, and you click on this page break, and you can see it automatically moves to the next page. And now it doesn't matter what you do, if all of this moves to the next page, everything is going to follow through to the next page. Why? Because you used a page break, right? Now you understand how to use a page break, right? Now the next thing I want to show you is actually how to add your title. Now to add your title, for instance, this is my introduction, right? It's part of my title. This is my chapter 1, it's part of my title. So what I want to do is I'm just going to come here and click on highlights, come on home, and you can see this is heading 1. You click on heading 1. Now you would understand why this is important as we go along the formatting process, right? That's our heading 1. Now the next thing is, this is our chapter 2, or chapter 1 rather. We're also going to come here and click on heading 1. Do this, enter. Well, you can see currently, you can see the space in between is too large, so I'm just going to highlight this and reduce this line, the space in between. I'm just going to make this 1.0, so you can see such that the space is reduced and it looks good. I do not want this color, so what I want to do to actually adjust this color is you're going to come here and click on modify, click on OK. You come to your heading 1, right click and click on modify. So when you click on modify, you choose the color you want. You can choose the color you want. So me, I want it to be black. I'm going to leave it as black because that's what I want. So it will say only in this document, and it will say automatic updates. Yes, I want that. So I'm just going to click on OK. You can see it's also reflected for introduction because I said automatic update. You can see this is looking very, very good, and that's how to add your chapters and your titles. And this is also very important because when we come to creating our table of content, this is going to be very helpful. So you can see this is a subheading. So what I want to do, this is heading 2. You make it heading 2 because it's a subheading, but the spacing is actually too large between it. So I'm just going to reduce the spacing to 1. Right? Excuse me. So when I go further, this is also heading 2, and the spacing is also too large. So I'm just going to copy this and reduce the spacing to 1. Remember, our spacing was between paragraph, not between heading and title, right? So it's very important that you have this good spacing. This is chapter 2. So for chapter 2, we're just going to, you can see chapter 2 is heading 1. We're going to make it heading 1. And then we'll break this page and make it chapter 2. Also, you see it's too large, so I'm just going to reduce the line spacing in between also to 1 to make it good. This is heading 2, and so on and so forth. Now we've learned how to add our chapters and our heading. Another thing that would want to learn how to do is actually how to add numbers. Now you can see this is all numbered and all that stuff, but of course it's very simple how to add that. You're just going to come here on design, because it's very important for you to add page numbers, because page number is good. It's very important for referencing, such that when somebody comes on your reference, if you say chapter 1, chapter 2, it's very important that they know what page chapter 1 is in, what page chapter 2 is in, and what page chapter 3 is in. So you're going to come on in to add your page number. You're just going to come here on insert. You can see page number. You can choose where you want your page number to be, at the top, at the bottom of your page, and all that. So I always leave mine to be at the bottom, and at the bottom you can choose where you want it to be, either at the middle, by the side, or whatever. So I'm just going to leave it at the side. You can choose to do whatever it is you want, wherever you want it to be. There is no particular rule or regulation to where your page number is going to be. Now another thing you need to learn is how to design the interior of your book. Now this is a book, nothing is wrong with this book. It is perfect, it is perfect and good to go and all that. Another thing, hold on, before we even do that, I need you to understand, make sure that you don't have chapter 2 overlapping on a previous chapter. Every chapter must start on a new page. You can see this is automatically, every chapter must start on a new page. All right, now to design our book, or to add actually the interior of our book, to actually design it, you're just going to come here on design. You can see page borders. Now here we will choose what border we want. So I'm just going to choose on the box border, and choose on OK. Here you can choose what the size, the design you want. If you want dotted lines, if you want straight lines, if you want a single line. And here you can choose the size of the border line you want. So I'm just going to choose on this and I click on OK. And boom, you can see my book has cover already. Now, between myself and you would agree that this book looks a lot more beautiful and a lot better than a book without border. Now, hold on, let's just do something very quickly. Let's remove the border. And you can see it looks completely different. All right, so we're just going to reinsert our border to make our book look better and more presentable. You can see it looks a lot better now and more presentable, right? Now that's that for the interior of a book. Another thing we want to add is you can actually choose to add, one thing you can actually choose to add is a footer, which usually can be the title of your book. For instance, this footer is here. The name of the title of this book is Complete Guide to Anti-Inflammatory Diet. So I can copy this. This is a book I've written already. So you can now come here on your footer and paste it. Right, it's too large, of course, clearly, because we're copying it from somewhere. Make the size what? Make it 10, and then move it to the side. Yes, this is good. But of course, this is too large, so this is absolutely too large, and this is, so you can see how it looks. Say it's done. This is how it's going to look. A complete guide to anti-inflammatory diet for beginners. You can see it's going to reflect everywhere in your book. Everywhere in your book is just going to reflect. This is part of course, the book designing and all that. So the next thing we want to focus on right now is how to actually how to insert our book title. So first of all, of course, like I told you already, we're going to go to insert page break in order to move this to the next page, and then now we have our space to add our book title and our subtitle. So I'm just going to copy this, which I have already, and then come here and paste it. Now you can see this looks good, but not too good, all right, because we do not have certain element of it. Now I'm going to explain a few things to you, which is, now you have your book here. We're just going to add this. Of course, this is supposed to be part of our, just add page break it to the next page. Now you can see clearly for this is our book title, A Complete Guide to Anti-Inflammatory Diet for Beginners. Now this is our subtitle. Remember I told you in subsequent modules how that it is very important that you add very good keywords. Here you're just going to go to the home and make sure that it is on italic. Reduce the sizing of your subtitle and actually centralize it to make it look good. And then of course this is the name of this is your pen name, and then it's just going to be like this. All right, now the next page is actually our copyright page. All right, so I'm just going to come here and insert a page break, and then we'll insert our copyright. Copyright is very important. You have to design every book with a copyright. Now I have my copyright here already, but if you do not understand how copyright works, it's very simple. All you have to do is to look carefully at what I wrote here. It's not so difficult. Just look carefully at what I wrote here, and then you will be able to come up with your copyright. It's no part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical method without the prior written permission of the publisher. except in cases of brief quotations embodied in reviews of certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright. Copyright C at 2021. This book was written in 2021. Interestingly, I'll make that 2024, and then the name of the author, Michelle Brown. All right, and then of course this can be, you can decide to leave this here, or you can decide to move it to, you know how copyright looks in different books. Now, can't you see that this is already looking so fine? This book is already looking beautiful and good to go, right? Very fine and all that stuff. We can, you know, we can move this further downward. Can move this further downward to just, you know, add some flair and carry some beauty to it. Reduce also the size of the subtitle, and it's good to go. Now, one thing that is very important also is how to add links to your book. Now, I have various links. For instance, let's assume, let me just use this as an example, my Canva link. Use this as an example. Copy this, and then come to my book and see. So let's assume I want to add a link here. Probably I have an affiliate product, or probably to, let's say, to purchase my other books. Use this link. All I have to do is to copy this, right, and click on and right click. You can see hyperlink and all that. So I'm just going to come here and add the address of the link. Control V, boom, and it's gone. You can see here clearly when I click on this, it's going to redirect me. Already our link has been added to our book. Link has been successfully added to our book. All right, so we've been able to successfully add our title, our page title. We've been able to actually add our copyright book. We've been able to add link. Now, there are two more important things that we must not forget. One is the layout of our book. Now, there are two kinds of book on Amazon. One is the Amazon Kindle, and the other is the the KDP paperback. Paperback is the hard copy of the book. Kindle is the one people can read. Now, before we will do that, what I wanted to do is to actually add our reference, or rather our, what's it called, our table of content. Now, for you to add your table of content, you're just going to come here. Make sure if you have an introduction, come to the introduction. If your book started from chapter 1, start from chapter 1, and then you're going to come here and click on reference. Come here and click on table of content. Now you can choose any of the table of content that you want here, but normally I usually go to custom table of content, and then I choose the one I want. I usually choose, I'm just going to go with classic. Now you can see it shows here show levels, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Normally I have just 2 heading. You can decide to add this to heading 4 depending on how many headings your books, your different body of your book have. So I'm just going to leave this as 2 heading, and then I'll click on enter. And you can see it just produced for us a very beautiful table of contents without anything. This is a very, without having to, create manual table of content and stress yourself. This is just created for us a table of content. And you can see here, all we have to do is to do this and move this to the next page, but it's not going to do that. So I'm just going to do this, and you can see that it's perfect. Now, I know you might be wondering, I told you not to actually click on it and move it to the next page, but why am I doing that? That is simply because I want to be able to, eventually would have to add a page break for everything, making everything actually fit and look the same. All right, so before you would be able to do that, you need to actually move this, and you can see it's perfect right now. Move this further up. Now this is a simpler way to do it, or you can just actually just add your page break, and we're good to go. Home, centralize this. Now we've been able to do that, which is of course adding our table of content. Now one other thing that we need to do is to add our final page break, which is coming here. Now that we have this, and insert our page break. Now that we inserted our page break, you can see it came back to below the table of content, meaning that everything in this book right now is having a proper page break, everything in this book. Now, of course, like I mentioned, books have different formats, the Kindle format and the paperback format. Now, for the Kindle format, you're going to come here and click on layouts, right? And then you click on size of your book. Then you come here and click on more paper sizes. Now you can see there is width here, there is height here. Now for the Kindle version, the width is usually 5, right? And then let's start with the paperback. For the paperback, the width is usually 6, and then the height is usually 9. And then you're just going to click on OK, and then it's going to look like this. Now, if you upload this book as a paperback, Amazon is going to accept it straight because you have followed. Look at how beautiful this looks. Even if I'm asking you to buy this book, I am guessing that you would want to buy it because it looks so fine and looks so good to go, right? Now, all you have to do after you've been able to do this is to come here, because you have to save this. Come here and click on Save As, right? Choose where you want to save it on your, on your laptop, and then you can probably just categorically save this as paperback of your book, and then you're going to click on save, and then it is going to be automatically saved on your device. Now you can actually come here and actually also edit it for your Kindle version. Now I told you to save it first so that when you change it to your Kindle version, everything does not just flip and you don't have the copy. So you're also going to come here, the same process, and click on more paper size. But here on the Kindle version, usually the width is usually 5 and the height of your book is usually 8, right? You're going to click on OK, and then you can see our book has just been altered. Our book has just been altered. Now, normally when you do this, there's going to be a little bit of changes here and there on your book. So all you have to do is just come here and reduce sizes, and you can see that it's back to normal and our book is ready to go. So guys, this is basically how you go about your book formatting, and with this your book is 100% ready to be published on Amazon. All right, now I'll see you on the next module where I would also explain to you how to upload this book properly on Amazon and how to impute the price that you want to be paid on the book that you're uploading on Amazon. So guys, I'll see you in the next module.